Hey, what's up? Let me get the music going. I don't feel like editing these videos yet, but if I get more viewers, I will be editing. Was it this one? Yeah. So anyway, today was a bit frustrating. Let me show you first the game. So this is my game right now, and let's see. Yeah, I should maybe show gameplay of the game and stuff like that. You get a better idea. But it's actually been somewhat popular. Maybe I can bring up the game. Hold on. See if I can do that here. I'll just play the game a little bit, show you what's up. Here it is. And yesterday, I did pay for an ad, and so I've got 2,500 visits almost. The ad ended, what? Almost 24 hours ago. Yeah, about 24 hours ago probably. And I've been seeing some people in the game, like very few. Maybe 6 or 7 hours ago, there were like 3 people in the game. But I wanted to show what I'm working on today, which is I'd like this leaderboard doesn't work properly. We'll talk about that. Some of the other stuff going on. So there's someone in here. Okay. So you've got 3 weapons. I don't know where the... Oh, it's acting a little strange for me. What is going on? There, I think that'll be better. I have the HD admin stuff, but when you press... Even when I'm chatting... Oh, wait, never mind. I think because my keyboard is... like an Asian keyboard. Things are awkward sometimes. Whenever I make an apostrophe, like when I'm chatting, are they gonna shoot me? Oh, they shot me. Whenever I make an apostrophe when I'm chatting, it just presses enter in the chat. So like, I can't use contractions. Like I can't say like can't or don't or anything like that. So yeah, the sniper is one-shot kill, which I kind of like. Simple. It's all these zombies. Now you can see in the top right, there's points and... so this area, I'm planning to connect this below the map. But anyway. Because there's an area below here that you can get to way over here. I don't think... Maybe a lot of people don't know. But, I'm thinking of putting a sword down there as well. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, they shot the zombie. What was I talking about? We got these zombie spawners. 2 types of zombies. They actually fight each other, which is fun. Actually, when you start the server, there's another type of zombie, but I haven't made that zombie spawn yet. Which I'll get around to. But yeah, there's this area down here, so... And you can actually, whatever, who cares? There's more secret things to say, but it's not that interesting quite yet. Can I jump back up? Okay. Pah. Alright, so as you can see, there's several bugs with the whole point system. So for one thing, just shooting the ground will get you points. So... Like if I shoot them with a sniper rifle and I kill them, I'll get 1 point. But if you want a lot of points, just shoot the ground with a machine gun. But that's not even like... It's like, oh, why don't you fix that? Well, there's certain things to fix in order here. Where do I even begin? Well, let's look at what I was working on today. So this is a test, group test or whatever. Here kills are working. And so if you, programmers talk about persisting data, what that means is basically if you shut the thing down and then load it up again, like if I exit the game and I come back, it will still have 21 kills and 10 deaths here. Which is, some data persistence is working on this other game, but a lot of, like, that's why I have wins, for example, and I started the game with points. But even that's, the points right now aren't persisting correctly. So there's some kind of bug in the persistence. Meaning by persistence just means that it's staying when you come back. Because if you don't persist data, then when you come back into the server, it will be gone. And that terminology is not only about servers. Like if you make an iPhone app, it's something you have to think about is persisting data. And the thing is that why as a programmer or whatever, why would they make it a little more of a hassle to persist data? Well, think of like an iPhone app. If you just persisted everything, so all data is saved all the time permanently. Let's say you made a mistake in your programming and you're making, every time somebody opens the app, you're creating like a megabyte of data just because you're a lazy programmer and let's say, so a megabyte of data is, you know, 1 million bytes. So maybe there's some kind of big two-dimensional array that you're using related to rendering or who knows what. There's all kinds of reasons why you might use a two-dimensional array, or like you're handling image data or something. And I bet you most of the programmers on Roblox are not even thinking about, for example, destroying memory that they made earlier. So if you program in C, for example, you need to worry about memory allocation and deallocation, which is not even, you know, storage actually. So just there, for example, it's very common to make a mistake and maybe not deallocate memory. So what I mean is, for example, with the array, let's say you used some kind of 1 megabyte array and you're not destroying it when the program shuts down. Well, with memory, that's not a big deal because when the program shuts down, any operating system worth its salt, which in the current year, I would hope that this is never a problem, but they will deallocate all the memory that was given to your program. Whether it's behind the scenes in the programming language you're using or it's very apparent like in C, your program is allocating memory and hopefully deallocating. But yeah, the operating system will, when you shut down the program, it should deallocate all the memory, hopefully. So that's not too big of a deal. But imagine if all of that were being persisted, being stored in permanent storage, and some programmer makes a mistake like that, and now every time somebody opens the program and then closes it, then 1 megabyte gets stored permanently on the system. Now that would be a bug, that would not be good, but it just means, and it wouldn't be the end of the world in this case. Well, after 1,000 uses of the app, an extra 1 gigabyte of unimportant, useless, unused storage would be used by that program. You see what I'm trying to say? So if you made it like really trivial to persist data, or well, maybe making it easy is not necessarily a bad thing if the programmer knows kind of what's going on, but persisting everything would be a mistake, especially like I said about maybe you have arrays that you use regularly and then throw them away, but maybe you accidentally don't throw them away. In other words, you don't properly deallocate the memory. Or maybe you just have some loop that's making a bunch of arrays or variables or something. And yeah, that's a bug, but this kind of stuff happens. And then, yeah, you've got some loop that's allocating a bunch of data. And if you're persisting that all the time, it could be really bad very quickly and very easily. And all kinds of mistakes would be extremely bad. So that's why, you know, everything is not persisted, and it's not necessarily super trivial to persist data. Okay. So, but there is some data being persisted, and I know about this kind of stuff in general, about programming in general, like persisting data and stuff. And with the example of Roblox, you're talking about persisting it on the server. So your server probably doesn't have that much storage, to be honest, and yeah. So I knew, like, okay, this is one of the first milestones is how to persist data. And if you're doing iPhone development, you know, this can be tricky. I don't know, maybe for Android it's a little tricky too, but like it's not super trivial to start persisting data in many applications, many platforms. So I was like, oh yeah, that's a good milestone. Know how to persist data. So I learned how to do that. There's lots of tutorials. You can copy paste code. I figured it out. It's okay. Okay, but then, so I want to keep the kills and deaths, alright? So this is working okay with this sword, actually. And this is from a tutorial on YouTube. Let's see. This one? Yeah, this one, how to make kills and deaths leaderboard with saving data in Roblox Studio. So they have these two scripts that they copied and pasted. Now, I don't know. I suspect they kind of just got this from somewhere else. I don't think that they actually wrote these scripts themselves. Let's see. Is this what I want to look at? Yeah. This is not this current game that I'm working on, but this is rather this one with just the swords. It's a little thing for testing and figuring things out. And there's basically two scripts that were added in the hold on, let me make sure that this is recording what I think it's recording. Here, light Streamlabs, like minimize. Okay, anyway, this has two scripts that are from the tutorial, which I'll show you. And so one of them is just called script. I guess that's this one. Data store is actually simpler, but hold on. So if you're familiar with data stores, I mean, anytime you see this async kind of thing, it tells you, like if you've done JavaScript programming, this comes up all the time, and it tells you that you're kind of making a request and then you're not sure when it's going to come back, is what often happens. And that's why, so async for asynchronous. So imagine you're making a request, so you kind of send off this, I don't know, you send something, like a letter or something, and it's going to come back later. If that were real life, you know, maybe it'd take weeks, but computers act really fast, so it might take a few milliseconds. It might take, it's over the network, so, you know, like when you check your ping might be like 200 milliseconds. So it might take 200 milliseconds, which in the world of computers is an enormously long time. So, okay, so right away, and we got async here. So, but we can look at this and see it says player removing and player added. So this is about recalling the data that was saved prior, if there is such data. And this is about saving the data when the player leaves, player removing. So that's all this is really about. Now there are better ways to do this. I'm pretty sure. I think I had a different data store script that I think was better. Why was it better? I forget. But I think it made more than one request. Like it would try a few times on these things. So that's a little bit better. And by the way, like this request to either get data or to save data might fail. So that's why it's sort of wrapped in these P calls. I'm not sure what P call stands for. Protected, is it? Or, I mean, the idea here is that if it fails, you'll get an error. So the success, I imagine, is just a Boolean that is probably 1 if it succeeds and 0 if it fails, and then error might contain some message. And yeah, so it's failed to retrieve data, and then it'll print the error here, or it'll warn. So that's this script. And then above that, as a parent. So this is interesting. I'm not really experienced with like parenting scripts. Like this script is a child of this script. And that's kind of interesting to me. Does it mean that the stuff that's in this data store script, like can I refer to things here that are in the parent script? I think that's the case. I think that is happening, but I'm not totally sure. What else do we have here? So it's not that much code, but then what's also really relevant here is the sword script, because I think it's relevant. I'm still figuring some of this stuff out, but I'm just sharing like what I'm figuring out as I'm figuring it out. I mean, because, okay, so the problem is that this doesn't work with the other weapons. Like, this is an SMG that I think is by Roblox, and it doesn't affect the kills or deaths. And I find this true with the sniper rifle and the rocket launcher and all that stuff. So the sword works, but not these other weapons. Yeah. Now you can tell that I figured some stuff out in the past because, oh, they left. Because, I mean, this will increase points when I shoot stuff. I mean, that's at least a step in the right direction, right? Now we just need to check. If we want the score to be damage, we need to check that it's against a player or maybe an NPC. But, I don't know, it's a step in the right direction. Then we have this one. All right, so actually, I mean, I haven't talked about this code very much, but this is okay. I mean, this is distracting. Yeah, full screen this. This is not a big deal. I should maybe not even really talk about it too much because this is so much straightforward. I added some print statements and some checks and stuff. But what's weird to me is the first thing I saw that was weird. If we look over here, let's see. Let me just do a kill. So you can see, like, I've printed out a lot of things. So killer was uViolet87. And you have this child.value is a player, and that was creator. So no matter who kills each other, it will always say that was creator here. But then killer was uViolet. So what's going on? So it's from these print lines. This was one of the print lines, and this is one. So we have killer. Killer is getting the person that you would expect to be the killer. Of course, all this only works with the sword, not with the other weapons. And let's see. So player. So I expected this to get the same as the killer. Now, this part is sort of silly. I'll mention that in a second, but the main part is here. So I don't know. This is a little complicated. It's iterating through all of these key value pairs. They're called key value pairs that are from this, that are child elements, objects, I guess, of this humanoid. So this happens when somebody dies. So it checks all of the child objects of their humanoid, right? Players have a players are maybe it's the characters that have this. Yeah, characters have the humanoid object. So the player really refers to the player, like before you even spawn, you're a player, and character is like after you spawned. Now you have a character, and that character, I think all characters will have a humanoid instance attached to them. So we're connecting. This is really interesting. Most of the languages I know don't have this kind of connect thing. I think it's really interesting. I'd be curious if anyone knows what this is called in programming in general, but it's fascinating to me that you can just connect to, we're basically connecting to a function some other code. Now this I'm perfectly okay with. This is called an anonymous function, which sometimes is called a lambda function, I think. But yeah, we commonly call these anonymous functions, which I'm comfortable with. But this is really interesting. And cool, I guess. But yeah. So I was surprised that what kept coming up here was always creator. It was never the name of the player who killed, or the name of any player. And then so I started looking into the sword script. The sword thing, hold on. The sword thing, this classic sword, only has one script, and it's this one. I love how there are all these people who are like really proud about this script. I'm gonna kind of rip into it because there's a lot of things wrong with this now, and this kind of inspired me to make this video. But I want to first say that even though I'm gonna rip into this, don't let that discourage you from scripting, from programming, because at the end of the day, it's okay. I'm glad that this script exists. It's okay if there's some really bad practices in here that I'm gonna rip into a bit. That's okay. Nobody is born being a great programmer. But the first thing that I noticed reading the script is there's not a lot of comments. Now, you don't need a comment for every line like I see some people do. Some things are obvious, and don't write comments that are like super obvious, unless you're making stuff that's really, really for super beginners. Okay, I guess then maybe that's okay. But like having this and then writing a comment, this sets slash damage to 10. Like I see people do stuff like that, and it's don't do that. That's ridiculous. But this is the other side of the spectrum that's bad. Here's a comment to display a lot of particles. Even I don't really need this because it says particle emitter. But I'm glad this is here, actually. This gives me information. Could help me. Other than that, do you see any comments? This is commented out. They removed the code. Commented out. That doesn't count. And that's it. So that's the first thing. Like, there are no comments. Another thing, there's sometimes these awful lines. This line is terrible. Try to split this into... Yeah, this is terrible. This is one of the worst lines I've ever seen in all my coding. Again, don't let this discourage you from scripting or programming. But this is one of the worst lines that I've ever seen. First of all, this ranks high in unreadability, partly because of this stuff tacked on at the end. Or false. Like, what is that even doing? Or false? Oh, okay. It's checking all of this stuff, but why would you have and true? Just break this into several lines and check things separately, and maybe explain why you're checking it. Like, what, for example, why are you checking character.parent? Maybe just explain it. Leave a comment. You know, this should be like 7 lines. Nothing complicated. I think this is probably nothing complicated going on, but this is one of the worst lines I've ever seen in all my days. Yeah. But let's try to understand it. I mean, because it's... maybe I can understand it. Check if alive. So we're checking if the player is alive. So this always bothers me that there's like this, almost like a global variable. Where did player come from, right? So let's check that. Player. So this is within a function. So the scope, I'm still learning about how this stuff works in Roblox, but scope should be local here. So this should be a local variable, but or it's, I'll put it this way. It's not declared here. So let's see. So players equals this, it gets the players, okay. That's fine. We have different numbers, players, okay, whatever. Now we have local player. So this is a little weird. They use this convention that I've almost never seen. I'll talk about it with the character thing. So they use character lowercase and character uppercase to refer to 2 different characters, which personally I've never seen before. I don't know if that's a convention in Roblox because I'm new to it, or if that's a convention in other programming languages that I'm not familiar with. But that seems awful to me, because normally when you have something like this, character uppercase, that would refer to a class, and character lowercase would refer to an instance of the class, or an instantiation of that class, an instance, an object of that class. That's the normal paradigm that I'm used to in many languages. So, but that's not what they're doing here. Character uppercase is not a class. These are both objects, instances. They just refer to different ones. That's terrible. Don't do that. This is my honest opinion right now, but maybe after a year of Roblox programming, I'll think differently, but I don't think so right now. Getting back to the player thing. So I'm just mentioning that because they've got lowercase player and then uppercase player. So local lowercase player equals players. Okay. But we still haven't established what the uppercase player is. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Where's uppercase player? Oh, okay. It was case sensitive to the lowercase one. Player. Here we go. Oh, there's that one. So player uppercase equals players get players from character. Okay. So player is the player who's got this thing equipped, I guess. Who has the sword equipped. Okay. But then what's the lowercase player then? And again, this is against convention in the vast majority of languages. Then you just have player getting input into this function as a parameter or an argument. This is just terrible. Like, name it player that was hit or something. Like, name these different things. Main, or like player with weapon equipped. I know those names are kind of long, but just do anything but not this. This is terrible. Describe the player. Don't just say, if you only had one player, it'd be okay, but you have all these different players. And this one I'm okay with because we're just checking if they're teammates from 2 players. That I'm okay with. But what's going on here? So now local players. Oh, so this is using a different convention, right? Earlier I saw uppercase player for the same thing, no? Yeah. They're mixing different conventions. This is terrible. Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Comment your code. Learn when you make something uppercase and lowercase in programming in general. Be more descriptive in your variables. Which player? Is it the player that's getting hit? Or is it the player that's doing the hitting? Yeah, make it like hit player and hitting player or something. Something like that. That would be descriptive and better. And so I think what I learned from going through this code a bit is that this tag humanoid. So first off, this take damage function, you'll notice, is not here. So this is like a Roblox function. And if you look online, Roblox take damage, this is one of the humanoid methods. And so take damage. A method is just a function that belongs to a class. So yeah, this is a thing. Great. But anyway, tag humanoid is a local function here. Let's see. There it is. But it's basically treating... So I believe, if I remember correctly, this player uppercase is the one that's doing the damage, and this humanoid is the one that's receiving the damage now, I think. Or I have it backwards. And then this creator is meant to be, again, the player, the name of the player who is doing the damage. And again, you need better names. This should be like, if you want to call them a creator, name it that says creator tag.name. I guess that's okay. I don't even understand the motivations here. Again, the people who wrote this stuff don't know how to name variables properly, so it's hard to, like, once I spend more time with this code, I think I'll understand everything that's going on. But right now, because things are named poorly, it's hard to understand what the motivation is. Creator, anyway. So it's a little weird what's going on. And I still haven't figured it out completely. Gotta figure it out more. Just need to understand how this stuff works more. And I think a big, I guess, milestone or key insight was this take damage function. Because these kinds of functions that are from Roblox are going to be pretty important. But yeah, so this tag is basically saying who hit who. And so it's creating this instance called creator tag. So is that in this other, not here, but here? There's no creator tag, but there's, yeah, I need to learn more about it. So I need to figure out how this works, and then I need to figure out how to try to get it to work for the these other weapons, like submachine gun, sniper, and rocket launcher. So then I have the kills and deaths persisting correctly with these other weapons. Then I will work on making this leader, not even this leaderboard, but just the stats that are in the game. I'll work on having these be kills. Just kills to start with is enough. So you could do kills and deaths, I suppose. Getting those to work in the top right over there. And then after that, work on displaying that the highest numbers on this leaderboard. I think this leaderboard thing is good enough. I got this from a different tutorial. There were a couple of scripts involved. Once I have the data correct in the up here in the top right, then I think it'll be straightforward enough, hopefully, to get that leaderboard actually working. So that's kind of what I've been working on. So you can see that there's like a lot of things to fix first and things to figure out first before diving in. But how it was working before, I think I removed the scripts I had before in the game. In this game that you see here, there's some scripts that I've just removed them completely from here and started new. Yeah, because I was gonna show you how I have it working now, but I can't right now, I don't think, because I've just removed it basically at this point. Anyway, that's about it for now. Let me know if there's anything you would like me to make a video about, to show you. For example, we've got these zombie spawners and stuff. These are all free models, by the way. So it was kind of fun. This was my first time making some terrain. I made this little island first and then started just building out from there. The last thing I did after this game was up for a day or two, I added this tree house thing. I thought it was fun. It's fun. This tree part is a little bit maybe big. I might try to change it. The textures on here are really like, it's not even trying to be a wood texture, it's just a color. This is super basic too, this bunker thing, but for now it's fun. So that's it. Let me know if you have any ideas for videos. Thank you. Bye.